The most unbelievable TV show starts right now. It's Ripley's Believe It or Not.
Tonight, we hit the Ripley's live billboard on the Sunset Strip for a challenge that will send chills up your spine. Watch as two of the world's top freedivers face off in a nerve-wracking underwater battle to prove who's the best.
All right, take your positions.
Kelly Packard brings you all the breathtaking action. See who can hold their breath the longest without blacking out. When this adorable puppy was born without front legs, the vet said she'd never stand on her own.
Well, we had faith she would walk, so we named her Faith.
But nobody could believe their eyes when the handicapped pooch actually stood up to walk upright. Don't miss Ripley's most inspirational animal story ever. It's a day Danielle Dauenhauer will never forget. The co-ed was cleaning her second-story dorm room when she lost her balance and fell out. Impaled on the fence below. Wait till you see what rescuers had to do next. Plus, Ripley's reveals a day in the life of the world's tallest teen. Grab a seat at the restaurant that serves every dish, shake and bake style. And in tonight's unbelievable update, see how wearing a simple bikini became big business for these quarter-carrying meter maids. Only on Ripley's Believe It or Not.
Hello, you are watching Ripley's. Let's get started by going to a unique location for the first story. Perched in the sky, high above Hollywood's Sunset Strip, is where we'll find Kelly Packard. Kelly?
Will be holding theirs for a long, long time. Mandy Ray Cruikshank and Jessica Wilson are friends and world-class freedivers who came to Ripley's for the ultimate breath hold competition.
Mandy Ray lives in Vancouver, Canada, where she works for a scuba diving certification agency. Mandy holds 1 world record and 5 Canadian national records. Her challenger, Jessica Wilson, lives in Anderson, California, where she is a registered nurse. A member of the U.S. Women's Freediving Team, Jessica has been a competitive freediver for the past 3 years.
You might be asking yourself, how are we going to hold an underwater competition up here? Well, Ripley's hoisted an 1,800-gallon tank for this event. Once spilled, the water is heated to 90 degrees, the ideal temperature for a competition breath hold. Hey guys, tell me now, what exactly is freediving?
Freediving is breath hold diving, so it's trying to, on one breath, go as deep as you can, as far as you can, or for as long as you can.
All right, so then what's the difference then between freediving and what you're doing here tonight as far as holding your breath?
Well, tonight we're doing the static apnea, which is just one of the disciplines of freediving. It's holding your breath for as long as you can. Tonight we're going to be submerged underwater, so it's a little bit different than what we would normally do.
Okay, now, I understand that you can actually black out, right, in a situation like this. Can you explain what happens when that occurs?
Blackouts are kind of the worst case scenario, and it's the most dangerous part of the sport. In static apnea, you're just floating there motionless, holding your breath, so it's very easy for people not to notice when you've run into problems.
Sure. Well, now, have you guys competed against each other before?
Yeah, our first competition we competed against each other was in 2000 in Nice, France, actually, first international competition for both of us.
Oh, and wow. Then again in the World Championships in Spain.
In Spain, yeah.
Oh, cool, very cool. Well, it sounds like we've got an underwater grudge match in the making, and I can't wait for this. So we'll give you guys a few minutes to go ahead and get ready, okay? Good luck to you.
Thank you.
This underwater breath hold is just minutes away on the Ripley's billboard.
Kids can be cruel to each other. So imagine trying to fit in with everybody else when you're the world's tallest teenager, standing 8 feet in height and still growing.
Here's tonight's Ripley's Kid.
Vikas Apal is used to being head and shoulders above everyone he meets. In fact, standing an incredible 8 feet high, he's already the tallest person in the world. But Vikas isn't done breaking records yet, because believe it or not, at only 17 years old, he's still growing.
बस वो सोने में भी सब दिक्कतें आ जाती हैं, बाहर निकलने में दिक्कत है,
As a child growing up in the tiny village of Rohtak, India, Vikas was always much taller than the other kids.
कभी रंगीन अक्सरा किया, कभी कौन सा, फिर उन्होंने कहा तुम ले जाओ भाई यहाँ से गंगाराम अस्पताल में दिल्ली में, उन्होंने कार्ड पे लिख के दे दिया.
Little Vikas just seemed to grow and grow. His father, standing 5'7" and his mother at 5'2", eventually brought Vikas to see a doctor who diagnosed him with gigantism, a disease that makes the body secrete too much growth hormone.
This is really a very rare disease. Roughly 2 to 3 cases are there per million populations of the world.
But earning just a farmer's wage to support his family, Vikas' father could not afford treatment for his son's condition.
अब ऐसे दूर भी नहीं रखा जाता, आप फिर हमारा बेटा है, बस दिल से बहुत अच्छा भी है, प्यार भी करता है, सब कुछ होता है जी.
Now, more than 13 years later, the not-so-little boy has exploded into this 430-pound giant with size 22 feet. And, though tall, doctors say he's perfectly healthy. But he has developed quite an appetite. He eats at least every hour. Vikas can consume 30 pieces of Indian bread, 24 bananas, a gallon of milk, and enough vegetables to feed 6 people for a day. And just finding clothing that fits is a tough task in itself.
मेरा बेटा विकास को बहुत फायदे हैं और हरियाणा में बहुत रोशन कर दिया है और जो दुनिया देखेगी वही.
But Vikas is learning to adjust to a world that's too small for him.
और अंदर सोने में भी परेशानी होती है, अंदर जाता हूँ जब पंखे का सिर पंखे का लग जाता है, बजाता हूँ एक सुई जितना फर्क हो जाता है.
Even going for a car ride with a friend is a tight squeeze for Vikas. And this towering teen hopes to use his height to his advantage, with dreams of becoming a giant on the big screen as well.
हीरो हैं, ये गुस्सा पिटी करके मार के और ले जाते हैं हीरोइन को घर अपने, और बहुत अच्छा लगता है और मैं भी अपनी जिंदगी के लिए यही करना चाहता हूँ.
Some lofty ambitions this gentle giant may one day grow to fulfill. Believe it.
We'll be right back.
Still ahead, the two-legged dog that shocked the world when she stood up and started walking like a human. Also in tonight's Ripley's Extreme, a man who's making Leonardo da Vinci's dreams come true by bringing the artist's flying machine dreams to reality. Plus, Pedro Enriquez accidentally blew off his hand. So doctors split apart his arms to make him new ones. You won't believe what he can do with them. And we take you to the only town where a meter maid is a welcome sight. See how one bikini-clad woman turned small change into big business. Enter Robert Ripley's archives.
Believe it or not. Believe it or not.
The year is 1950. Expert knife thrower Luella Gallagher of Austin, Texas, prepares to attempt a one-time event that should never be attempted by anyone at home. Believe it or not, in a shocking and disturbing display, Luella will be tossing blades into a wooden board with her own 3 daughters just inches away. Neighbors look on nervously as Luella successfully sticks knife after knife. And while today the idea of tossing meat cleavers at another person would be unthinkable, Luella's kids escape unharmed from this never-to-be-attempted again demonstration.
Believe it or not.
We travel to the South Pacific in tonight's Ripley's World Tour.
It's an ancient tradition that has been practiced for thousands of years. Parents literally binding a baby's head to stretch their skulls into cones. And this unusual custom was long thought to be extinct. Until now. Because, believe it or not, Ripley's has found a tribe of people who still practice this strange ritual. For thousands of years, the people of this tribe have lived a primitive life in the jungles of the South Pacific. When tribesmen were forced to end their cannibalistic practices, this nomadic group moved near the ocean to be closer to civilization.
In fact, these people have only just come down to the sea to spend more time, to try to get closer to people, passing yachts, that sort of thing, in order to try to improve themselves.
And although many of their practices died long ago, some of the Nabas continue the unbelievable tradition of reshaping their skulls. A tradition first documented in these turn-of-the-century images showing tribe members after their heads were reshaped.
A longer head means that people can use their heads to penetrate the jungle, to use their heads as a battering ram to get through dense undergrowth. And now they don't really use their heads for that particular purpose. But it's a tradition, it's a custom, that's why they still do it.
But this isn't the only reason for this unique custom.
And also for very important customary traditions and ceremonies. And a longer head, it's thought, makes it easier to wear very tall masks that are a particular characteristic of the people who live in this area of Vanuatu.
In this Ripley's World exclusive, cameras have captured the head binding process for the very first time on television.
The process starts when the baby is born. It has to, because that's when the head is softest.
The first step is to make a paste from fresh coconuts.
They smear the newborn baby's head with this paste, and the paste is used to prevent a rash.
Every day for 6 months, the parents cover their newborn's head with this coconut concoction. They then wrap the inner bark of a banana tree snug around the baby's head. This will cause it to grow in an elongated fashion. After 6 months, the child's head is shaped for life.
You can tell that when they were a child, their heads were bound, because they have these very distinctive, characteristic ramps, foreheads that look like ramps, long heads.
And despite how unusual this process might seem, elders are convinced it is completely safe.
The tribal elders in the village chiefs, told us that this process is not dangerous at all. It doesn't hurt the baby in any way.
An ancient tradition the people of the small Nabas tribe appear to be bound to for the foreseeable future. Believe it.
Next, this college co-ed fell out of her second-story dorm window, but she never hit the ground. That's because she landed on a fence, skewered alive. Also, Ripley's discovers a man who believes ancient acupuncture treatments should be applied with a blowgun. And you won't believe what he claims he can cure. Plus, tonight's unbelievable animal is the ultimate survivor. Meet the handicapped hound turning heads everywhere it goes, because Faith the dog walks upright like its owner.
You turn around and all of a sudden you see this dog walking and you think, she only has 2 legs. And you just think, how can she do this? But she does.
And the only restaurant in the world that gets hit by an earthquake every 15 minutes. Those stories and more still ahead. Take a moment to believe this.
Ripley's discovered a town where the local acupuncturist is well respected. But what makes this a Ripley's story is that he uses a blowgun and darts to treat his patients. And as you're about to see, he could probably use a little bit of practice on his aim.
This man practices the ancient healing techniques of acupuncture. But believe it or not, instead of gently placing each needle into his patient's skin, he fires them in with a dart gun. For the past 40 years, people have been coming to Dr. Masahiko Hirota for his healing art of acupuncture. He believes that piercing specific body areas with fine needles can heal anything from nerve damage to stomach ulcers, even cancer. But on a trip to the Amazon, Masahiko picked up a rather unorthodox method of practicing this ancient art form of acupuncture. While most doctors will carefully stick their patients with needles, Masahiko blasts them with a dart gun. While his patients lie on their stomach, Masahiko fires at a specific area of the body that corresponds to the patient's place of pain. And while the procedure might look more uncomfortable than it is soothing, it leaves no lasting scars, and patients swear by its benefits. Believe it.
Eastern medicine practitioners that we spoke with do not condone this unorthodox treatment.
You're watching Ripleys Believe It or Not.
For University of Southern California student Danielle Dauenhauer, the beginning of her sophomore year was an exciting time as she prepared for the rigorous routine of her studies. But the start of this school year would turn out to be anything but routine. Because, believe it or not, Danielle fell out of a window and was skewered upside down on 2 steel security bars. As a communications major in her second year of studies, Danielle had a full schedule that kept her running from class to class. After a tough day at school, Danielle decided that it was time to take a break from her homework in order to decorate her dorm room. After laying out all of her favorite posters on her bed, Danielle started pinning them up one at a time. The excited student climbed up onto the bed to hang a poster when she completely lost her balance and fell backwards out of an open window, plummeting down 20 feet onto 2 steel security bars that pierced through the flesh of her buttocks.
I knew I fell out of the window, and I knew I wasn't on the ground. I didn't know at that point that I had 2 6-inch spikes jammed into my back end.
As this actual video shows, Danielle was literally dangling on the steel security bars with no way to get down. 4 USC football players were nearby and heard Danielle's screams for help. They rushed to her side, and while waiting for paramedics to arrive, they held Danielle up to prevent her weight from further ripping her lower body apart.
If we didn't keep her up, they'd probably slide in even deeper, and she was in excruciating pain. So really what we just figured out was that the longer we could keep her up and keep her from sliding down even deeper until the rescue crews arrived, the better chances of surviving, because we didn't really understand the severity of the injury.
Incredibly, Danielle never lost consciousness despite hanging upside down for nearly an hour. Rescue crews have to cut through the bars to free the 18-year-old from the dormitory window. Danielle is rushed to the hospital, where doctors assess the situation. Are there internal injuries? How much blood has Danielle lost? Unbelievably, doctors discover no serious injury, and giving Danielle only a local anesthetic, they're able to remove the bars without surgery. It is amazing Danielle only needs 26 stitches to close the 2 wounds.
I was in the hospital for about 20 hours, and I said, are you done with me? Can I leave? Am I okay? And they said, yes. So I said, great, I'm out of here.
Doctors say Danielle is fortunate. Had the security bars not been on the window below, she could have landed on her head, causing possible brain damage and paralysis. Today, Danielle suffers no side effects from her traumatic accident, and despite a fall that left her impaled on 2 steel spikes, she hasn't lost her sense of humor.
I have a lot of nicknames that came out of this whole thing. My personal favorite is Shishka Butt.
We'll be right back.
Next, Ripley's returns to the bright lights and billboards that line the Sunset Strip for a breathtaking challenge. Our own Kelly Packard is there as 2 women struggle to stay underwater. See who can hold their breath the longest without blacking out. Plus, he lost his hands in a terrible accident. You won't believe how surgeons pulled off a miracle by splitting apart the bones in his arms and turning them into working clothespin-like pincers. And You're about to meet the man who built a machine designed by Leonardo da Vinci hundreds of years ago. Now he flies through the air like a bird. That and much more when Ripley's returns. Ripley's Extreme.
In just moments, thrill seeker Felix Baumgartner will attempt a feat so dangerous it could easily cost him his life. Because, believe it or not, Felix is looking to become the only person in history to literally fly over the English Channel without a motorized aircraft. For the last 3 years, Felix has been obsessed with perfecting a one-of-a-kind wing that was based on the drawings of Leonardo da Vinci's flying machine. And like Da Vinci's invention, it's designed to strap onto his back, turning him into a gravity-propelled rocket. With years of planning and preparations finally in place, and admittedly feeling a bit nervous, Felix makes his way under the tarmac where he sends what could be a final farewell to his friends and family. Once airborne, and due to the altitude, Felix must immediately rely on the use of an oxygen mask. The jump plane continues to climb and finally reaches an altitude of 30,000 feet. That's higher than the peak of Mount Everest, and the temperature is now 40 degrees below zero. Once Felix is airborne, he will have to reach and maintain a speed of 200 miles per hour in order to clear the 21-mile stretch of the English Channel. A freezing cold Felix prepares for launch, getting the green light. He's out. It's a breathtaking sight as Felix quickly accelerates to an unbelievable 200 miles per hour. The early morning sun shines off his high-tech carbon fiber wing as he watches his jump plane disappear into the horizon. Felix's girlfriend waits anxiously for any sign of her boyfriend.
I'm very nervous, but I'm sure he's gonna make it.
Now, reaching an unbelievable 220 miles per hour, this flying Superman realizes he is already over halfway across the English Channel. With the French coastline in sight, Felix looks for a flare, signaling his landing position on the cliffs above the English Channel. Once he spots the landing, Felix pulls the chute, but seems to be caught in his own line. Incredibly, he rights his chute just in time. And after 14 minutes in the air, his ride comes to a dramatic end. Despite some scary moments on the landing, he's done it.
I went through the lines and got stuck with the lines, with the legs in my own parachute lines. So I couldn't do anything. When parachute went down in spirals, so I had to use this knife and cut this, we call it slider. I had to cut this away to make sure that my legs coming back again.
It's a truly mind-blowing achievement as Felix Baumgartner glides into history by being the first person to successfully fly across the English Channel without an engine.
Well, I'm really happy at the moment because the last couple of years we did a lot of preparation. I got a perfect team behind, and now I crossed the whole channel. So this is history, and I'm really happy at the moment.
Believe it.
Tonight's Ripley's Challenge is a grudge match underwater. The two contestants came to Ripley's to settle a simple bet. Who can hold their breath the longest? Putting them up on the billboard, well, that was our idea. Let's go back out to Kelly.
Yes, this is exactly what it looks like. Two divers in an 1,800-gallon tank for tonight's Ripley's Challenge. Here with me, ready to get in the water, are Mandy, Ray, and Jessica, two world-class athletes who are about to face off to see who can hold their breath under the water the longest. Mandy, Ray, and Jessica will each fasten a 30-pound weight belt around their waists along with ankle weights. This will keep them under the water. Their coaches are here standing by constantly monitoring their condition. Now, once the challengers can no longer hold their breath, they will have to first remove their weight belts before they reach the top. Now, I will give the command for you guys to slide into the water and begin the challenge. The clock starts when your face goes under the water. Does that sound good? Yep. All right, take your positions. Good luck.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Okay, Mandy and Jessica are in the tank. Remember, these ladies have gone through arduous training to learn how to stay in control of critical body functions. And we're coming up on the 30-second mark. 30 seconds. Being in the best possible physical condition is what allows Mandy and Jessica to control heart rate, blood pressure, even lung capacity. At this point, the average person would start to feel a little lightheaded, maybe even dizzy. Remember, Mandy and Jessica's coaches have to constantly watch the women to make sure they don't go unconscious. Mandy and Jessica focus on being as calm as possible, helping them to regulate oxygen decrease and carbon dioxide increase in their systems.
2 minutes.
At this point, the divers are beginning to feel the lack of oxygen. This is a critical period. As the oxygen from the lungs is consumed, the brain will start to get its supply from the other organs in the body. When oxygen is seriously depleted, the spleen will actually shrink to push more oxygen through the blood and up to the brain, making possible damage to the diver's internal organs a very real threat. This is amazing. I can't believe Jessica and Mandy are going on
3 minutes, 30 seconds. Jessica's losing her belt. Okay. Jessica, stand by. We're gonna get, it looks like you lasted over 3.5 minutes, but we're gonna get the official tally. We're at 4 minutes.
I can't believe Mandy's still holding her breath. Okay, she's undoing her weight belt.
Mandy Ray came up as well. Mandy, it looks like you were over 4 minutes, but we're gonna get the official, okay? Hang in there, guys. Jessica, you have an official time of 3 minutes and 45 seconds. That was truly amazing. Mandy Ray, you are the Ripley's Challenge champion with an unbelievable time of 4 minutes and 14 seconds. Mandy Ray, you are the new Ripley's breath hold champion. Congratulations. Thank you. From the Ripley's billboard high above the Sunset Strip. You saw it only on Ripley's.
Next, you won't want to miss the story of Faith the Labrador, the two-legged dog that learned to walk like a human being. Plus, the diner that keeps getting hit with disaster. We head to the Earthquake Cafe to see what's shaking. Also, he has the world's most unique hands. That's because these big fingers used to be his arms, until doctors split them apart. And these meter maids actually keep drivers from getting parking tickets. Wait till you find out what they're up to in tonight's unbelievable update. Next. Welcome back to Ripley's. The patrons of this European cafe are enjoying a meal that they'll never forget. That's because disaster is about to strike. And when it does, it will leave them shaking in their boots. Literally. Believe it or not, the Disaster Cafe in Lloret de Mar, Spain, caters to adrenaline seekers who want to experience the ultimate thrill of surviving an earthquake of epic proportions. The restaurant floor is actually built on hydraulic lifts that simulate the shaking of an earthquake, measuring a mind-blowing 7.9 on the Richter scale.
This is an attraction restaurant. You can survive an earthquake here, so that's the main thing.
Each one of the tumblers comes without notice, and just like a real earthquake, it's guaranteed to jolt you out of your seat. Believe it.
Ripley's is searching for the most unbelievable animals in America. But tonight we're taking a break from the audition process. But don't worry, we found a truly unbelievable dog that walks upright on 2 legs, just like me. Check it out.
Ripley's World of Unbelievable Animals.
This 7-month-old lab seems like an ordinary dog.
You're just really tough, aren't you?
Whether she's playing or just cuddling with her owner, this pup loves attention. But this canine is different than any other because, believe it or not, when she takes a step, she does it like this, on 2 legs, like a person. The Stringfellow family was looking forward to getting a new puppy, and when they found this tiny 3-week-old dog, they immediately fell in love, adopting her despite the fact that she was born with front legs that didn't work.
She was so cute, so fuzzy, so little, so helpless. So we had to take her. We had to help her.
They knew that caring for a handicapped dog was not going to be easy. But they believed that eventually, somehow, the puppy would someday learn to walk.
Well, we had faith she would walk, so we named her Faith.
With some tender loving care, Faith grew to be a strong puppy. But she still couldn't walk and was totally dependent on the Stringfellows to get her around. Then, one cold winter day, Faith stunned everyone by doing something no one could have ever imagined.
It was snowing outside, so we decided to put her outside in the snow. It's always fun to put a puppy outside in the snow. So that the whole family goes out and puts the new puppy out in the snow. And she got cold, so she stood up.
To everyone's amazement, Faith was soon walking upright like a human being, a feat nobody could believe.
We were just amazed how she could just walk, and we were like, it is going to be okay. It is going to be okay.
Today, Faith has finally conquered her disability, able to travel short distances without any assistance. If she does get tired after a quick rest, Faith's soon ready to go again. And wherever she goes, this persevering pup draws a crowd.
I've never seen that in my life. That's amazing.
She's even amazed veterinarians from around the world who predict that her already muscular back legs will only grow stronger. And the Stringfellows now plan to take Faith to visit children's hospitals and nursing homes to inspire others and prove that with a little faith, the unbelievable can happen. Believe it.
Ripley's World of Unbelievable Animals. Amazing stories and unbelievable people. Ripley's Believe It or Not.
For expecting parents, there's no moment quite as exciting as seeing the very first image of their unborn infant. Now, one artist is capturing that moment forever, transforming sonogram imagery into a portrait from the womb. 2 years ago, Lisa Wood became inspired to create this unusual art after receiving a black and white sonogram photo of her own. It gave birth to a whole new art form.
My thought was to color tint them like some of the photographers do with their photographs.
After scanning the image into a computer, Lisa manipulates the texture and experiments with different colors to give each image a strikingly unique appearance. Some expecting couples, like Justin and Denise Jordan, have even asked Lisa to use certain colors because they already knew the sex of their unborn child. After giving birth, these proud new parents couldn't wait to see what Lisa did with a sonogram of their newborn son, JD.
Good morning. Good, how are you?
Oh my gosh.
Lisa unveils her masterpiece.
Look at that. That's amazing. That is so cool.
I hope you guys enjoy this for many years to come. And thank you for letting me do this.
Man, we will keep it forever, that's for sure.
The entire portrait process takes about a week. And Lisa's unique artwork is generating such a buzz, she's delivering her creations for a tidy $800 a pop. Believe it.
If coffee isn't providing that jolt to get you going in the morning, you might want to try this. Shower Shock, the world's only caffeinated soap. Each bar lasts about 12 showers and contains 200 milligrams of caffeine per serving. So each time you soap up, your body absorbs the caffeine equivalent of a single cup of coffee. So the next time you're running late and don't have time to brew your coffee, just take a shower with this. Now here's something else you've probably never seen before.
Pedro Enriquez has always relied on his hands for his livelihood. But believe it or not, despite suffering a terrible accident that literally cost him his hands, Pedro has been able to carry on with 2 split arms that look like giant clothespins. Pedro grew up in Honduras, where he and his wife are raising their children. He makes a living by driving a truck and selling fruits and vegetables. But when Pedro isn't working, he loves nothing more than sitting on the river's edge with a fishing pole. But Pedro's life would change forever after a firework exploded in his hands. Doctors told Pedro there were 2 things they could do: give him a prosthetic or undergo a rare surgery that would hopefully allow Pedro full function of his remaining limbs. Pedro chose the surgery.
Pues le digo yo, doctor, si usted mira, le digo yo que para mí va a ser un gran beneficio, le digo yo, pues démosle. Le digo.
Yo la prefiero a las prótesis en nuestro medio porque tienen sensibilidad, de manera que el paciente puede sentir lo que toca, puede hacer la prensión adecuada que él necesita.
Incredibly, surgeons will try to separate the bones down the middle of Pedro's forearms to create 2 very long fingers. It is a surgery that has only been attempted 4 times, but never on both hands. After the surgery, Pedro endures weeks of rehabilitation to teach his new appendages to function as fingers. But would his new hands actually work? Will Pedro once again be able to provide for his family?
Dios los cura sus heridas, pero solo el paciente es capaz de hacer funcionar esas operaciones.
The operation is a success, and Pedro's remarkable ability to actually grasp objects with what were formerly the bones to his arms leaves doctors in awe. Making it look easy, Pedro twists off caps, eats with a fork, drives his truck, works on his engine, and even reels in the catch of the day.
No me siento un inválido, pues, porque yo casi todo lo puedo hacer.
And although the experience has certainly changed Pedro's day-to-day activities to a degree, when it comes to truly important things like his wife and kids, this family man with the most unique hands is grasping life and living it to the fullest. Believe it. Next, Dean takes us to the Ripley's Vault, where you won't find a lucky rabbit's foot, but a gruesome gator claw with a history of special powers. And only Ripley's will take you to the one tourist town where the meter maids wear a 2-piece uniform and carry plenty of quarters to prevent you from getting a ticket. We'll show you to the friendliest place to park in the world next. Watching Ripleys Believe It or Not.
The sandy beaches of Australia's Gold Coast are heating up for another season of fun in the sun. But the warm weather isn't the only reason these tourists are flocking to the beach. That's because the bikini meter maids are on patrol, and they're adding quite a sizzle to the sand. Ripley's was first to report the story about these bikini-clad meter maids who were hired by local merchants to feed expired meters. The young women, wearing just swimsuits and coin belts, helped to solve a parking ticket predicament that was infuriating beachgoers. Now, in this unbelievable update, we take you back to the beach where bikini meter maids have become so popular with tourists and locals alike. They've opened their own store, where you can buy all your bikini meter maid gear, ranging from a pinup calendar and videos to shirts, and even their trademark sparkling gold bikinis. The meter maids are in such demand that the size of the force has recently quadrupled. And Roberta Atchison, the store owner, is always looking for new recruits.
When girls come to me for a job as a bikini meter maid, I like to look for a beautiful face, a friendly smile, and a good disposition.
In fact, Our cameras were there during a recent cattle call for new candidates who will compete for one of the most sought-after summer jobs in Australia.
19 years old, yes, and look, you look fabulous. You've got a great figure, your personality, you're very friendly, and you've got a good face. So I'll be only too happy to try you out.
After a quick interview, the girls head straight for the beach, where they shed their street clothes for bikinis. After a quick lesson on how to become a meter maid, the girls are put to the test. They have to hit the street, where they become instant successes with the tourists.
Thank you very much. No problem. Have a great day.
After seeing the meter maid recruits in action, Roberta decides to hire all 5 for a summer job they will never forget.
It's great exposure, kickstarts a lot of girls' modelling careers, and it's fantastic because you get to walk around in a bikini in the sun all day.
With new recruits on the job, the bikini meter maids will be out in force. And if they have their way, they'll be in a town near you soon. Believe it.
Here in the Ripley's vault, an artifact's purpose is not always apparent. Take this severed crocodile claw from New Zealand, for example. In the same vein as the American tradition of a lucky rabbit's foot, Maori tribesmen believe that this scaly limb is a symbol of their power over the sea. But this is not just a trophy. This handle was attached for shaking, because it's also a rattle used during tribal celebrations. Unbelievable? Believe it.
What is that?
Zombie virus. It's a virus that's transmitted through human contact.
What are you doing? Don't open the door.
Do you know anything? Zombies can't talk.
I can't believe I'm gonna die a virgin.
Based on the real live-action game that took college campuses by storm.
Live, here comes round 2.
Humans vs. Zombies premieres Friday at 10. Only on Chiller. Scary good.